This is the first adventure in Hearthstone, and we're gonna compare how good these cards were in the past and how good they are right now. Avenger's actually a Paladin Seeker right now, you know? It's still a pretty okay Seeker, especially in some Seeker Paladins, not gonna lie. Way back in the day though, this card back in the day would destroy fools, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna put it at a solid, I let them have my kids. Because honestly, this card has such a good legacy behind it. I'd let him have my kids. You may look at this card right now and you might think, wow, this card's so slow. But you think about the past, there was entire decks revolving around this card. This card was one of the first cards to ever get nerfed, okay? You think of cards that get nerfed right now, like what's got a nerf? The biggest nerfs ever in the game, like Patches the Pirate, one of the biggest nerfs ever in the game. That's the only one I can think of right now, but still, this was the OG. And you know what that means? Boop. We all know this card's a joke, right? Back then, that was pretty good value. Right now, it makes me look at it and feel sad. Come on, let's be honest. It's not like the worst card I've ever seen. It's still at least a basic card now. Zombie Chow, jeez. This card brings back memories. You see a 1 mana 2/3 that heals your opponent for 5 with the Death Rattle, and you're like, You think 6 years ago, 7 years ago when this card was released? This card was insane. It was a zombie Chad, exactly. It was so good back in the day. It was one of those cards anti-aggro, and it's not insanely good right now, but it still makes me feel kind of fuzzy, I'm not gonna lie. This was the first card that makes you summon a minion that's a copy. Honestly, considering the legacy of Serenite Chain Gang and Doppelgangster and now the Trog card, what's it called? Could have been the last card that makes you copy a summon. What the heck am I saying? Could have been the last card that summons a copy. It wasn't insanely good back then. In fact, I'd say it probably wasn't very good back then. It has a legacy. The first card that summons a copy of a minion. Let's give it figurative trash, because it's not literal trash. It just makes me feel like literal trash. Haunted Creeper, this card. Hey, remember that Undertaker card we literally just looked at? Guess what, boys? There's another one with the Death Rattle on turn 2. And this is 2 mana, 3/4, which, you know, you think about now and you're like, okay, sure, it has the Death Rattle, it summons 1/1, big whoop, whatever. But back in the day, again, this with the Undertaker, put that in Hunter, it's over. A solid card. Mad Scientist, you remember Secret? This was in Secret Paladin. It's also a Death Rattle. Great card, Mad Scientist. It was insane back in the day. Wow, a lot of these cards are really good. Like even now, Mad Scientist is not amazing, but it's still, you know, okay card, right? It makes me, I'd let the Mad Scientist have my kid. You know, he's not gonna do anything wrong with him. What the heck is this card? It's a tech card. Minions with Battle Cry cost 2 more. I have never seen this played in my life. I still think there's worse cards. I can't give it literal trash, come on. We need a standard deviation here. The Ruby and Egg, solid card. Well, it's not a great card now. It was good in some decks. You play hand lock, you plop it on the board, that's a 4/4. Add it with some Argent Defenders, boom, boom. Ruby and Egg is not amazing, not terrible. I would say if it was a card, it wouldn't be in the core set today. That's all I'm saying. But here is what I'm talking about. You look back at this guy, you can see, okay, you know what? That could be a tech card. You look at this card and you wonder what you're doing with your life. What the heck is this card? There's only one situation where this is okay, or 1.5. Your minion's at low health and it has high health and you destroy it and you bring it back and that's a heal. Or you trigger a Death Rattle and you bring it back. The only two things. Maybe you get lucky and you go with the future card we're gonna look at. You go Fugit and Stalag, and then you get your big boy Thaddeus. It's not that good. Wow, I have such a good combo. I can destroy one of my minions and bring it back to life with full health, and I triggered Death Rattle. And then you think to yourself, why don't I just play a better card instead of trying to go for a specific combo that I can't use half the time? So when I'm talking about literal trash cards, standard deviation right here. It's not looking like a standard deviation right now, but trust me, it'll be there. Unstable Ghoul, another one of those cards. You look at it, you feel sad about yourself. It's in Battlegrounds though, makes you look nice. It's a good tech card, it can stop some aggro. Did anyone really play this though? It's not a great card, let's be honest with ourselves. But it's not the worst card I've ever seen in my life. Again, could be an anti-aggro card. It has more use than Reincarnate, jeez man. Boop, Dancing Swords. The first, give your opponent an advantage for better stats. Let's be honest though, this effect's not very good. It's an okay card. By okay, I mean it's not that good, but it's not the worst card I've ever seen in my life. Do you ever look at Dancing Swords and you're like, man, I'd let that sword stab me? No, you don't do that. And then aggro deck, it's Dark Cultist? That was okay. What am I saying? This card's This is the standard. Why is there 2 of them in the... Sure, you can go next to each other. Have a twin. Death Lord. Okay. This card's iconic. Think of Dirty Rat. You think of Mutinous right now. Are you gonna get destroyed? Are you not gonna get destroyed? Who knows? I wouldn't say it was always the best card. Let's be real. That I'm willing to put it and it makes me fuzzy. Because it makes me fuzzy. Objective opinion. Not really. Duplicate. Let's be honest. I don't think I need to say anything more. Shade of Naxxramas, well, it was really good at the time. You put this in Rogue, it was super good. Because I think, wait, is oil here? No, oil's in a future expansion. Was it Undertaker levels of good? It was probably, kind of, not really. Undertaker was insane. It's pretty bad now. But I put it at the bottom of Let Them Have My Kids. You know, I wouldn't let them have my kids, but you know, I'd let them have my kids sometimes. Oh, hey, remember I'm talking about the standard deviation and only having a few cards at the bottom that doesn't make the criteria of being literal trash or figurative trash? I have no idea what I'm saying. But the point is, do I need to say anything about this card? It's a 3 mana 1/4 that heals itself. Boo-hoo. You can use that with Reincarnate. Wow, you can get a full health minion twice in your turn. A Nubar Ambusher. It's okay. It's not a terrible card. Is it a great card though? No. Is it a trash card though? 4 mana 5/5, especially in that time, I can't give it anything worse than an eh. You look at this guy in Paradise, you're like, oh, he's pretty cool. I don't really care about him though. That's me at Paradise too, but you know. Baron Rivendare. Let me tell you, you see how many OGKs Baron Rivendare has? There's a reason why it's still in Battlegrounds. And because this card is one of those OGK cards, bro. This is so good back in the day. Well, it's not so good, but it was like fun. Was it always the best decks? No, let's be real. They weren't that great of decks. I'd let them have my kids because they are so fun to play. This is not a standard deviation. This is looking like a straight line. Man, this expansion was actually a lot better than I remembered it being. Wow. Death's Bite, pretty decent in Warrior. I wouldn't say it's amazing. Come on, let's be real. Back in the day, this card was a solid card. Wouldn't say it was kids worthy, but it made me feel pretty fuzzy. Poison Seeds. What the heck? I don't remember a single deck that played this card. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't like Druids. But who played Poison Seeds? I don't know if it's at the same level of trash as Reincarnate, because at least Druids don't get board clear, so this is the best board clear. So I can't put it at the same level as Reincarnate. Also, I want it to look like a standard deviation. Regis played that card yesterday? Well, Regis better suck my... Okay. Void Caller. This card was super good. Exactly. Void Caller can have my kids. There's a reason why I'm pretty sure they have to do something about this card in most game modes. Wailing Soul. Silence your other minions. What world would you want to do that? Well, there is some worlds where you want to do that, but come on. Did anyone play this card? It's not literal trash. It has some use. Is it good use? No, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's the worst card I've ever seen in my life. Fugan, Stalag. 5 mana 4/7, and then you go opposite. 5 mana 7/4. Back in the day, you played these two cards, and then you would get, where is it? Thaddeus. There we go. But you could do this multiple times in one game. I totally forgot the combo of how you did it, but I remember it'd be like, oh, Thaddeus. And then you bring one of them back, and it's over. I totally forgot what deck it was. Hey, wait, these are Death Rattle cards too. Ooh, yeah. These cards are good enough to have my kids just because of how prevalent they were. They might have not always been the best, but they were all, wow, what happened to my standard deviation? What the heck? Even now, like if he had Death Rattle support, I can see these cards sort of come and play. It's kind of slow right now. Like all these cards on the top, if the meta was a bit slower right now, which I'm sure it'll slow down eventually. Maybe not Shade of Naxxramas. These cards are all decent enough where they might see play today. Okay, you know what? Maybe not these two. Oh gosh, now I have to make a new tier, don't I? I'd go to their funeral. Makes me sad looking at it. There we go. Fine, we'll put these cards in here because I don't think they're good enough to see play right now. No, my standard deviation. We'll put Poison Seeds back there. We'll put this guy back there. There we go. Lotheb. If you know anything about Hearthstone lore, you know that Lotheb was an absolute beast. For every expansion after this that Lotheb was in, they were put in a deck somewhere. It was insane. That might as well read your enemy can't cast spells next turn. So we all know if that was played today, we put that right here. Boom. OGK decks, not anymore. No more spells. Sludge Belcher. Wow, this expansion was so good. You might look at a 5 mana 3/5 right now, and you're like, eh, whatever. You look at a 5 mana 3/5 taunt back then that summoned to 1/2. That's the anti-aggro card of the century. I don't think it's good enough to see play right now, but that was such a good card back then. I wouldn't say it's insanely good now. Spectral Knight, one of the first can't be targeted. That's the only thing it's really got going for it. Wouldn't say it's the worst card in the world because, you know, first can't be targeted, 5 mana 4/6. That's okay stats. Is it literal trash though? No. It makes me a bit sad looking at it though. My Exna. I think of my Exna and I'm like, wow, that's 8 health. That's pretty hard to remove, especially back then. Then I think about it more and I'm like, what decks ran my Exna? I'm sure there were, but off the top of my head, I'm like, I can't because I don't think it was that impactful. It looks like a good card, but in reality, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's the worst card in the world. I wouldn't say it makes me even sad looking at it because if you get a random beast, it's an okay card, especially in most mid-rangey decks. But I wouldn't say it was anything better than average. Kel'Thuzad. You look at white main, summon all friendly minions at that this turn. 2 mana less, and it's instant, which, yeah, sure, doesn't really make a difference at the end of your turn. This does it on both players' turns, and it was back then for 2 more mana, but it was still back then. Games were slower. It's hard to remove this thing because it has 8 health. It wasn't that good, though. You look at Zombie Chow, that was played in a lot of decks. You look at Sludge Belcher, that was played in a lot of decks, but it wasn't. And that's the Curse of Naxxramas cards, the first Hearthstone adventure ever. Barons, Lotheb, you play those cards right now, and they're decent. You play Reincarnate right now, you look like a fool. But overall, this expansion is really good now that I think about it. Like, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then why not subscribe and check out this video right here. And if you want to support me get more videos out faster and also get some benefits like early access to videos, then check out my Patreon. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you around.